The following is a special live presentation of Eastlink Community TV in association with Tennis Nova Scotia. This is the 2023 Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink.
Welcome to the Wag-Waltic Club in South End, Halifax, site of the 2023 Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink. My name is Troy Langstaff. Thank you for joining us here today. A beautiful day for a couple of finals matches here on the clay court, the beautiful clay court here at the Wag-Waltic Club. We'll start off with the women's final. The top two seeds, Meghna Anand and Anna Nicolela. This is their second meeting against each other, and their last meeting was in last year's final. For more on this matchup, we'll send it up to the broadcast booth with Bruce Rainey and Colleen Jones.
Always great to have the number 1 and 2 seed head-to-head. Always great to have, a 6-time national and 3-time world champion curler. But you played tennis here from age 7, for goodness sake.
I started here as a 7-year-old kid, and I don't know what they called it there.
Yeah.
Couldn't play level, and then advanced. Love the game. Love this legendary event at this legendary club.
And your son, by the way, Luke, one of the great players in province's history. So you know your stuff. Let's talk about this women's final. We talked about the number 1 versus number 2 seed here, Meghna Anand from Truro, last year at the age of 15, youngest ever to win it. She is a tremendous young player. What do you like here?
Love everything about her game, and she won and dominated last year's final, and she's improved in the last year in every way in her game. She is a star player, and I love everything about her movement and her tenacity. She had to get through the Ramsey sisters in a quarterfinal and then a semifinal. I watched that semifinal. She was magnificent. She's got game.
She's got game, a lot of power. She also spoke to Troy just moments ago.
Quickly, over the course of the last week, what part of your game has been working so well for you?
My forehand and my serve is pretty good. I could do better, and I'm going to try to do better today with it. So yeah, forehand and serve. Yeah.
And Anna, what part of her game do you have to keep an eye on heading into this final match?
She's a really good mover. She's always all over the court, getting after every ball, puts the ball in. She's pretty consistent too. So I have to try to break her consistency.
Awesome. Thanks for your time and good luck, okay?
No problem. Thank you.
Guys?
All right, the words there of Meghna Anand from Truro, your number 1 seed this week at the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink. Her opponent is Anna Nicolela, 22 years old, from Halifax, Nova Scotia. She's also a 2-time winner of this event in 2018 and 2019. Lost in the final last year, and she's wily and crafty, isn't she?
Well, Meghna talked about her speed on the court, and she's like a Labrador retriever to me. She chases down every ball, and she never gets tired. I watched her semifinal match against former Open champion Marika Nell, who is crafty, and you can make every shot as well. And Anna had to earn that win. And I think one of the keys for Anna is making sure she just doesn't throw it up the middle. Get to those corners, work the whole court. I think that was probably her downfall last year.
Yeah, we'll see what she has to say about that as she speaks to Troy.
So Anna, you had the day off of singles action yesterday. What did you do to prepare for your finals match here today?
Well, I had a good warm-up with my mixed doubles semifinal yesterday, so that was good. And then other than that, I was just trying to take it easy, not exert myself too much, but yeah.
Smart move, I'd say. And in terms of your opponent, Meghna, is there any part of her game that you have to keep an eye on?
Well, she's a very hard hitter, so I think I need to be ready for the balls to come back pretty quick, be light on my feet, and keep it away from her weapons. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for your time and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, good advice there. Those weapons are indeed plentiful. There is Anna Nicolela of Halifax. She is looking for her 3rd career Nova Scotia Open women's title. We are set to go the number 1 and number 2 seeds here at the Wag-Waltic Club in Halifax. It's the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink, and first serve is coming up.
It's the WAG Waltic Club. It's a beautiful day, and it is the women's singles final. To the broadcast booth we go as first serve, seconds away. Here's Bruce and Colleen.
Excellent, Troy. There they are. Meghna Anand on your right, Anna Nicolela on the left. And a good time to talk about match keys here, Colleen, and what could come into play over the next hour or so.
Well, there's a lot of, the first thing I'd like to say is the weather's magnificent. They were playing in 45 knot winds that were gusting the other day, so that was tough. I think the first thing is for both players, get to that backhand. Number two would be patience. Interesting watching Carolina Wozniacki in the U.S. Open yesterday, and that was so critical in her game. I think you can learn a little bit from that. So patience, wait for the right moment to finish your point, and then win those points off the second serve. So if those second serves are weak, you got to jump in and take it early.
Both players are very good at that. As we mentioned, this is a rematch of the final a year ago. For Meghna Anand, her third straight year in the women's final, there is Sid McIsaac. Sid is making a good name for himself as a tennis official, not only in this province, but in the country. Players in their final warm-ups here. You played a lot of huge events in many a sport through the years. What are the
nerves?
Yeah.
I think the nerves are a lot, and sometimes you'll see that early in a tennis match. And we talk a lot about now the mental side of game, of just kind of forgetting about last year's final, forgetting about yesterday's match and everything that has led you to get here, and just maintaining your own inner dialogue of the attitude of there's a lot of points in a tennis match. You're not going to win them all. And that when you have a bad moment, you double fault, or you're just outside the lines when it's not bouncing the right way. You need to be patient. You need that patience, not just on the court in terms of when am I going to make that killer shot to finish off the point, but when am I going to be patient and kind to myself and remain confident, not think about outcome, not think about the opportunity to win another Open title for both of these players. Just think about one point, one moment, and do a reset when you've had that moment of a bad shot. You've got to have that reset word, or look at your racket, or walk to the back of the court and do something to reset. It's just the sport is a tough game mentally. And that's usually won and lost between the head.
Yeah,
one's equal talent.
Right. Often it's been said that the greatest asset an athlete can have is a really short memory.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And that's true in every sport. Tennis, you're out there alone. It's interesting watching the U.S. Open where you're seeing the coaching and how important kind of that might be a new trend and change in tennis. Somebody to help them a little bit navigate the nerves, the frustration, and when you start beating yourself up too much, having somebody else to kind of guide you.
All right, so here we go. The stage has been set, and Meghna Anand will serve first. She is the defending champion from Truro, Nova Scotia, Anna Nicolela to receive.
Interesting that she plays, by the way. That's a nice start. She plays, of course, at the Cougar Dome there in Truro, so she doesn't have to drive into the city. And boy, she can thank the Bagnalls and the Keavenys in Truro for making sure that became an indoor tennis facility.
Yeah, they have the Cougar Dome in the summer, then those gorgeous courts at Victoria Park. Excuse me, winter and summer. So she can play year-round. Forehand error there from Nicolela. Speaking to Annie yesterday, she was clear she wasn't happy with last year's final, and she's worked harder on her game this year, has played a lot more, practiced a lot more, getting set to captain the women's team at Dalhousie.
Yeah, and she was at Queen's. It's tough when you're in university and not in sort of an NCAA program. She was playing tennis at Queen's, yes, but a lot of our young players go on to play tennis with a scholarship in the States at NCAA schools, and there the rhythm is exactly like a tennis academy. You're playing in the morning. Friday, Saturday, Sunday's reserved for tournament play every weekend. You just get better and better. This is a start that Meghna would want.
Settle in nicely, right?
if you had any nerves, it's sort of like, all right, I can do this. And this is where Anna has to shake off some of the anticipatory first game jitters sometimes.
Backhand goes a little long. Hold it love for Meghna Anand. One game now in the books. They will switch sides, and women's draw went like this for Anna Nicolela. A comfortable win in the quarters over Ava Ramsey. And then a tough win over multi-time champion Meghna Anand in the semi 7-5, 6-3. Meghna Anand took on the other two Ramsey sisters, defeating Lily 6-0 or 6-love, 6-2 in the quarters, and then a tough three-set battle against Paige Ramsey, 6-7, 6-2, 6-3 in her semi. And that is how they are meeting here today in the women's final.
That three-setter, she had to really earn that. The semis were really interesting and fun to watch. And I was saying in the opening, the blustery conditions on that day and cold that they were playing.
It was so cold, huh? Yeah. So Nicolela now to serve. Generally, this has been a strength for her.
Love 15.
You talked about keeping the ball out of the middle, and you saw that Anand there with the nicely angled backhand that led to the miss from Nicolela.
Well, all of the young players are so well coached, well trained, year-round players. The opportunities to kind of improve your game are just so there. I mean, since we've seen the new indoor facility, formerly the Daniel Nestor.
Love 30.
Now the Sobeys Atlantic Tennis Center. Beautiful facility. It's really created a lot more court time for starters for the young players.
Interesting sign here early on. Nicolela's had a couple of first serves that had good pace, and they've been handled with relative ease by Anand. So Anand seems to be on her game early on here in the first set.
Just watching Meghna through the week, she just is playing with so much poise and confidence. And I think her great run at the Nationals this year and winning last year, it's just adding to her confidence.
This is going to float long, and another game for Anand. You mentioned the Nationals, and Meghna Anand this year went further than she ever has to the quarterfinals. And along the way, she knocked off the second seed in the tournament, which is remarkable for a player from Atlantic Canada to take down a player from Ontario, Quebec, BC, because they have just so much more to choose from.
And Tennis Nova Scotia is super proud of what's going on at Nationals for Nova Scotia players. I mean, they are punching way over, over their weight.
Making a lot of noise, huh?
They are, and again, I think it speaks to the new training center in many ways. And then we've got Head Start with Ted Mitsella and Jamie Powers. What they're doing to continue to, and this facility at the WAG, where the kids are playing all the time. So much more court time has opened up.
And so many really good, dedicated coaches, both young and old. They're putting in so much time. Nicolela looking for her first point here in the match. It's been a shutout so far from Anand. Oh, gorgeous cross-court forehand there as Nicolela tried to sneak in.
Hannah was sneaking in. Which kind of speaks to the fact that Anna's looking to play aggressive, right? She's looking to finish off a point. We talked about the need for patience.
Anand with the big serve gets the soft return and puts the forehand away. That is what she is so adept at, that particular pattern. There's a double fault from Anand and first point for Nicolela. 40-15 now. I think the wind picking up just a little bit here.
Suddenly when I said it was perfect conditions, we are feeling a little
bit.
closer.
Nicolela with a look here at a second serve from Anand.
Oh, long on that.
That is long and quickly now. 3-love for Meghna Anand over Anna Nicolela.
That was an unforced error there from Anna, where she, she could have sensed that maybe Meghna was vulnerable. But instead, Meghna takes advantage of the long return, and she could have moved in on that second serve as well. She kind of kept her same position as the first serve. She could have jumped on that a little earlier.
So let me ask you this from a sports psychology standpoint. You're Anna Nicolela, and you've been steamrolled here early. You know that there are better moments ahead. How do you talked about the reset. How do you do that as she sits there right now?
I think it's really important that right now she thinks about where has she gone wrong. How has it gotten to 3-0 so quickly, and what have her mistakes been? And we talked about patience being a key. Is she moving in too fast? And then on that last serve, did she not move in quick enough? And just keep the ball in play sometimes between the lines. They don't all have to be winners. Sense your opportunity, and then like a lion you pounce. So I think patience is such a massive, where you want nothing but power all the time. You want to find your corners. You want to move the other player around the court. And that's what she's got to, as a reset, say, okay, this first 3 games haven't gone the way you want it. How do you change it up?
Yeah, still very early. Nicolela on the serve. One thing she talked about early on was to get to the backhand of Meghna Anand, and so far it's been Anand hitting a lot of forehands. So Nicolela might want to rethink that, get back to that strategy, and keep the ball at least away from that forehand.
Sometimes you need to remember your strategy, right? What are your tactics? What are your strategy? What did you say you would do? And staying light on your feet, moving well, and if you want to attack a person's backhand, find a way to get it there.
Your son, who's such a great player, he often has told me that when he's nervous or struggling, he focuses on his feet, which sounds counterintuitive, but he says if you get your feet moving and stay active, everything else will follow from the feet up, which I think is really good advice.
I wish I'd given him that advice. That is solid advice.
He's a smart guy.
Luke was lucky enough when Tennis Canada brought the legendary coach Bob Brett into the Tennis Canada family, and Bob made many, many trips to Nova Scotia to coach players and had a fabulous facility in San Remo, Italy. He coached Boris Becker, Goran Ivanisevic, Cilic, just to name a few. He passed away recently. He used to talk about this need to focus on your feet a lot, and light feet. Luke used to move like a gorilla on the court, like heavy feet. And Bob was there. I don't want to hear your feet all the time. I want you to be light, and you need to move them fast. Bob influenced a lot of players. I know Phil Anderson has won this a couple of times. Phil went over to San Remo. He was a kind-hearted coach who just believed in the power of everybody. I remember when he came to, at the time it was the facility in Bears Lake, and he said, you just need to be an athlete in this. And he wondered, how did Sidney Crosby escape tennis's hook? And Sidney can play, but I mean, what a player Sidney Crosby would have been.
He'd be quick with a bit of power.
Yeah.
Meantime, lovely touch shot there by Anand at the end of that last game. A lob up over the head, and she's up 4-love very quickly.
15.
Yeah, the only point so far that Anna Nicolela has won was on a double fault from Meghna Anand. So this has been a tour de force early on. She's got to stop the runaway train here.
30.
That was a beautiful serve.
Right to the corner and deep. Yeah.
Well, now, like, Meghna's playing with this confidence, right? She's got this lead. You can let it go, let it flow a little bit, and she's doing that.
You know what else, Colleen? I've seen her grow as a young person over the last year, too. She's so much more poised. She's a great conversationalist now. Very analytical, very mature.
She just caught the corner nicely on that serve.
Yeah.
If you can get that first serve in, that's a huge weapon.
Look at her picking
Beautiful
the corners
serve.
here.
Yeah,
Just
she is picking the
corner
corners.
after corner.
Yeah.
And 5 games.
So that's 5 games to love, and again, it's almost a shutout here that Anand is pitching.
That's a good description of it. And now, as you say, how do you stop what's been some sensational serving in that last game? How do you stop that?
So while the players take a break here, 5-love, first set for Meghna Anand. Let's head downstairs to Troy.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. I'm not going to claim to be a meteorologist, but I'll give you an update on what the weather's looking like. You can see it on your screen. A beautiful day, hardly, not even a cloud in the sky as I look up. 23 degrees, maybe feeling like 24. The wind not really existent. Sometimes you'll get a light breeze in and out, almost just to cool you down, but I'd say it's about perfect tennis conditions here at the WAG.
You know what I love there, Colleen? 23, but maybe feels like 24. That's very specific from Troy. I love that.
And I love that the wind that the players had to play with, these two women in these semifinals, was just swirling in every seemingly direction, technically northwest, but judging by my hair that day, it was all over the map.
Oh, no, it was a tough day.
Oh, it was tough and so cold. It has picked up a little bit, but not enough to be a factor. Sometimes you forget in Nova Scotia that tennis is an outdoor sport, right? I mean, it's interesting that we have to rely on our indoor courts across Canada, and but it's important for young players not to get hooked on the indoor game where the conditions are zero wind,
Yeah,
maybe
pristine,
a little humid.
right? Yeah.
You have to get used to the sun. You have to get used to the wind, and you have to embrace it. That's part of the game. Long run.
Until that point, there had been no unforced errors from Anand. That forehand went a bit long. She is really on a roll here. Second point in the match for Nicolela. A little short on that forehand.
And Anna, if you watch her foot movement right now, is just she's flat-footed and not moving really well on that back line.
And conversely, Anand is as light as a feather on her side. You see her looking for a little bit more on that second serve, but it sailed long. 15-30. That's her third double fault in the match so far. See, Anand able to hit 3 or 4 forehands in a row there, and that's how she dictates the point. So,
right, and that was a great second serve by
was.
Anna there as well. So hopefully that gives her some confidence moving forward.
love to see her break through with the game here and just get her foot into this match a bit.
Well, that's important. It's really important for your headspace as well to kind of go, okay, I remember now. I'm better than what I'm showing right now.
There's
Beautiful
that inside
shot.
out forehand. Yes, indeed. She loves that shot. Ran around the backhand, hit the inside out forehand for a winner.
You really want to start trying to dictate play to her backhand as much as possible. You know, it's such a weapon, her forehand.
So very quickly here, we have a set point. And that second serve goes long. Her fourth double fault. Frustration evident for Anna Nicolela as Meghna Anand quickly wins set number 1 in this women's final. It's the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink. Meghna Anand of Truro on a roll as she looks for a second consecutive title.
Oh, nice.
It is the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink from the Wagwaltic Club in Halifax on the beautiful Northwest Arm. Tournament that is well over 100 years old. Women's final today is a matchup between the number 1 and number 2 seed, Meghna Anand of Truro, Anna Nicolela of Halifax, and so far it has been all Meghna Anand of Truro. A very quick and convincing 6-love first set win.
This beautiful club has introduced so many people to the game of tennis. It's so fabulous. I was just looking at the 1901 women's champion and 1902 by
I love the name.
Miss Graham.
Miss Graham.
I don't know her first name. And then in 1903, Mrs. Handsomebody won. I'm just looking for the 70s when I was playing and who won, because I think it was sort of Debbie Brown. Vicky Bassett came down from Toronto to win in 1978. And Jody Myers, 1978. She was a pretty legendary player. I was coached by her mom, Joyce. And Michelle Karras won in 1977. She also won again the Women's Open final years later. She is Phil Anderson's mother.
And we have here a battle of 2 champions. Meghna Anand won it last year. Anna Nicolela in 2018 and 2019. Anna Nicolela left the court, and I assume she did so to try to compose herself and find a way to stop the runaway train that is Meghna Anand at the moment.
Here's where the self-talk, because as good as what Meghna is, you still have a response. Like, how do I settle down and hit? Keep it simple, stupid. I always call it the KISS strategy. Get it between the lines over the net. Get your confidence. Keep your feet moving. There's a lot of tennis left to play. I liked where she moved in on that second serve.
Yeah, tried to rip it, but just caught the top of the net. So Meghna is the reigning Atlantic Canadian under 16 and under 18 champion. Wants to go to university and play tennis on a scholarship, and I think she's well on her way to that.
They're doing a lot right now to try to get more young women in the game and continuing in the game. And they have a pilot project from Tennis Canada called Girls Set Match, and right now run by the Ramsey sisters, who seem to be everywhere, all the time, Lily and Ava. And it's aimed at young girls between 8 and 18, get more girls playing competitive tennis. Their next event is in East Hants mid-September. I mean, there's tennis courts all the way from, Tuscot to North Sydney. Have you ever been in that one?
In Tuscot?
I was going to call it a sheet club.
Yeah, it's kind of homemade.
Charming.
So here we go. Great start for Anand to start the second set. A love service game as This nightmare continues for Anna Nicolela. She just can't find it yet. And as we switch sides here after game one, let's bring in Troy once again.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. Here with Stephanie Reedy, the chair umpire for the men's match. And I want to ask you about your background of umping. You said you played, you coached, and now you're a chair umpire. How did that transition take place?
Well, I'm not so much chair umpire now, but I used to be. I retired professionally. Yeah, I played as a junior. I played in this tournament as a junior. I coached for several years, and it was just the next thing that happened. We had a professional tournament come here in the 90s, and I tried out, and it turned out I was good at it, and people from Tennis Canada saw me and sort of recruited me. And then I started working during the summers, while I was still in university, and then when I graduated, I went full-time on the tour. I was there for 6 years.
Any highlights from the tour? I feel like that's so interesting, getting to, umpire some of the best players in the world. Any highlights from that?
It's, there's so many. I mean, I guess I retired at the end of 2000, and that was a pretty special year for me. I was a chair umpire at all 4 of the Grand Slams, as well as at the Sydney Olympics and the Sydney Paralympics. And I think I was the only chair umpire who was contracted to do all 6 of those events that year.
Thanks for your time, Stephanie. And we'll get back to the action there. Sorry about that, Bruce.
Listen, it's all fun.
Sydney Olympics, I was there. Daniel Nestor, Sebastian Leroux winning gold. That was a turning point, a defining moment, I think, for tennis in Canada. This moment of what?
I remember those Olympics. Simon Whitfield, the triathlete, Daniel Agali, the wrestler, and then the 2 tennis players, the 3 gold medals for Canada.
And they beat the brothers.
They did. They did.
What were their names?
They were from Australia.
Yeah. What a match. Anyhow, that was Daniel Nestor has really influenced
Woodford brothers.
He's influenced a lot of the culture. Like we look at today's superstars in tennis and go, oh right, Raonic and Andreescu, but yet Nestor, I think, gave people the idea that a professional career, and he did it in doubles for a very long time.
At a very high level,
Yeah, so good. Is a possibility. I don't know that he gets enough credit. And of course now the Sobeys Atlantic Tennis Center is used to be the Daniel Nestor Center. I remember when he came down for several events linked to that.
You mentioned Bianca Andreescu. Years ago, when Anna Nicolela was 12, at the 12 and under nationals, the way the math worked, she needed a partner, and so did this player from... and so she and Bianca Andreescu played doubles that year. And that's a kind of a neat highlight in the resume of Anna Nicolela.
Oh, you wanted to keep that person in your back pocket. And
big time.
It's amazing when they go to nationals and they don't have a partner and who they get paired with. And I know it's opened up a lot of friendships for Luke from his under 14, under 16 national junior days and under 18. He's got tennis friends right across the country as a result of those national championships.
Nicolela looking to get on the board here in this women's final. And you heard a grunt there. That's another double fault for Anna Nicolela. They're starting to pile up now. And you can't give Meghna Anand freebies like that, especially when you're trying to claw back.
Yeah, you can't get freebies. And again, we talked about the role of sports psychology, and the tennis is just such a head game. I think there was a book called that I read. And resetting, getting back to the basics of over the net, between the lines. Let me find a little rhythm. And sometimes you just have to remember, you want your opponent to hit one more ball. You need to.
Had a chance there for her first game. Score is deuce as she bounces, tries to keep the energy positive and flowing.
Yeah. Nice serve.
Backhand from Nicolela just long. Advantage for Meghna Anand here in game 2 of the second set.
Game enough.
That was a beautiful serve.
2 games to go.
And on her forehand, if she had just been a little more patient, again, just take your time.
That's normally her best shot, and it's really, I think, let her down today. She's floated a few, and that one kind of into the middle of the net. So These points and games elusive so far for Anna Nicolella. Meghna Anand serving a 2-love here, second set.
That was a big opportunity for Anna to park the first set and give her some confidence. And sometimes when it's not your day, it's not your day. But it's still early.
Yeah, we have time here. Just 2-love, second set. Meghna Anand, winner of women's doubles at this year's tournament and a semifinalist in mixed. Anna Nicolella, a finalist in both women's doubles and mixed doubles. And this today, the big one, the women's final. So a double fault there from Meghna Anand. The opposite side of sports psychology, Colleen, and we'll talk about it here.
There's an opposite?
There is, because when you're steamrolling and rolling like Meghna Anand,
Well, then you're in the flow.
you hope you are, but you don't want the flow to go away, right?
You don't. Well, don't think about it. Don't
Don't
question when the flow happens. You go with the flow.
Yeah.
Just, if you can get yourself into a no-thinking moment and allow your body to do what you've trained it to do, you're gold. You're in the flow. You're in the moment. And I read a great sports psychology book recently by George Mumford, who was the Chicago Bulls coach, sports psychologist, doing more. Michael Jordan. I don't know which NBA team he's with now.
That was a good
But
point
it's
there by
about
Anna
being in the
Nicolella, by the
flow.
way. Yeah, and staying in it, and that's what Anand has to do. So a little bit of a entry here into this service game for Anna Nicolella.
You can look at a guy like Rafael Nadal, though, and how we've watched him through the years. Exact same thing all the time. What he does with his water bottles at a break. What he does on the court. How many times he bounces the ball, etc. Those routines set the flow. And then some people, when they get into match play and there's a little bit of extra pressure, you stop doing the things that you're supposed to do to become routine that are part of your game. Some people call it superstition. I do not. I think these are the small things that trigger your brain to go, I bounce the ball this many times. I do this. You know, in curling, it's how many times do you rub your finger around the bottom of the rock before you set your foot in the hack and get ready to go. Every sport's got it.
Breakpoint save there by Anand. It's like the basketball player who steps to the foul line and bounces it 3 times, spins it in the fingers, and
Yeah, I mean, I
will
listen
only
to
shoot
LeBron
down.
James' sports psychology on the meditation app Calm. I mean, you think, oh, I don't need to learn from LeBron. Yeah, we should all learn from LeBron James. But you can't call that up if you're not practicing it daily in your practice. And if you can make your practice exactly how you want to play every time, where there's pressure on every point, and you get into any game situation, no matter what your sport, and you're ready to do it.
that one sails just long. Another breakpoint saved by Anand. She has fought back to deuce in this game after being down 15-40.
Well, these are 2 games in a row for Anna when she's had victory on the racket.
Double fault from Anand. Yet another breakpoint here for Anna Nicolella.
So this is where, as an athlete, you got a sense that your opponent might be just a little bit nervous and knows this is a big moment. Because if she were to win this match, Meghna right now, and be up 3-love, she's in very much the driver's seat with control. So now Anna has to take charge.
Second serve here. There it is.
Well, she got a gift.
Back-to-back double faults from Anand, and as you say, the gift to Nicolella. And boy, 2-1's a lot different than
3
3-love.
no,
It
no
really
kidding.
is.
It's huge. That is, well, her first game, and it's never too late in this sport to turn it around.
Okay, it's 2 out of 3 sets. And first little mental stumble there from Meghna Anand at deuce. She double faulted twice to give Anna Nicolella that game.
It's a big moment too, because sometimes you look back at matches and go, what was the turning point? Oh, right, you could have been up 3-0, 2-love. And I think she knew that was the moment to put the foot on the pedal.
And then what Nicolela has to do is come out now with a good service game, back up the break.
I have liked how she's serving in this second set.
Tennis vernacular now is to consolidate the break. Break serve, come back, and hold your own.
Yeah, that's right.
And so important. Big game here for Nicolela, big name for Anand.
I think all players should spend a lot more time in practice on their serve. I know they're busy, you know, training points and working on backhand, working on overheads, things like that. But the serve is the first thing you control in every point, and it's all in your power. I think
Such a weapon.
people should quadruple up.
Love 50.
Another double fault there from Anna Nicolela. Not how she wanted to start. She needs a big service game here.
That was a nice serve.
15 all.
You get the sense, Colleen, that she knows that Anand is a great service returner, so she's going for that little extra on the second serve, taking a chance, and has just been a little long or wide a bit too often here.
Let's get it in that box. Nice second serve again.
Very strong. Yep. Anna started playing tennis at age 4, competitively at age 10. Ted Mastella, who you mentioned earlier, is a coach she cites as very important in her development at the Head Start Tennis Club. He's a BSc now from Queens and will go to Dal to do some master's work in life sciences.
Pathology.
Yeah.
It's like, sounds like one of those shows I like to watch, you know.
CSI with Anna. There it is. Good shot.
40-50.
That was a nice energy burst from her too. Like she said, that's where it's at. You know, like she might have just found some magic there. Beautiful serve.
That one sails just long, so another game for Nicolela. She does indeed consolidate the break, and the second set is getting more interesting here by the point. 2 games all now. And you can see the body language and the pep and the spring in the step of Nicolela has just increased suddenly with those 2 games. It's the pressure off, I'm in the match, second set 2-2, let's go. How does Meghna Anand now respond?
Yeah, there's always a turning point in every match, and it is always interesting to see what the response is when your opponents found their game.
Big forehand from Anand, tough to return.
And that Meghna worked around her backhand there to get to the forehand, which was a smart move. Well, if you've got the time to do it.
And you have that weapon.
Yeah.
For sure.
30
And then responding with that nice serve.
Right off the baseline, took a weird bounce, and
It was a great return, though.
tough to handle for Anand. Yeah, great shot, nice and deep.
Well, these lines on clay will do that too, right? They're hammered in. They're not painted on. They've got some say in all of this.
Big serve there from Anand, 40-15. She has a nice response here in her game.
There's one thing Bob Brett, when he was down here for Tennis Canada, working from here, would say to all of the young players, get on clay and play on it as much as you can. And we've seen that with some of the great world players, how their game developed on clay because you get more balls coming back at you all the time. And he said, get as much as you can on courts like this, if you're lucky enough to get to Europe and play on some red clay.
(40-30), 2-2, second set.
Yes.
And Anna Nicolela has come back from 40-15 down to force this to deuce.
Well, long on that return there from Meghna.
Advantage Anand.
Nicolela looking at a second serve.
Yeah,
She
moving
steps
more.
in. Good forehand again from Meghna Anand, and after a couple of scary moments there,
Anand leads 3-2.
she holds on to win game 5 of this second set and leads 3-2.
Important hold. But what a shot she delivered there with that forehand. Like, it's a weapon.
Yeah, that is indeed
And she
her
didn't
weapon.
shy away from it.
Went right to it. Back down to courtside we will head. Here is Troy.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. I want to take this time to give a shout out to our VIP seating, VIP Eastlink seating up on top of the clubhouse. Congratulations to Romaine and Carol Piers, who are sitting up there enjoying a perfect view. I'll tell you what, I was there yesterday and 2 days ago enjoying the tennis. By far the best seat in the house. I don't know if a lot of people enjoy maybe sitting courtside and getting into the action, but that's my go-to spot. So congratulations to them, and I hope they enjoy the match from that perfect view up top.
Yeah, it is indeed very panoramic up here. You can see the entire northwest arm.
I didn't know we were in the VIP section, Bruce. This is awesome.
told
And
ya.
there's catering, I'm sure.
I told
and
you I'd get you a good seat and
beautiful.
water. Yep. Nice crowd here today to watch the women's final. This is the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open, presented by Eastlink. #1 seed Meghna Anand of Truro leading Anna Nicolela by a set and a game. 3-2 here in set 2.
Well, the crowd's been relatively quiet in this match because there's been points won on unforced errors and things like that. It's hard to get the energy. And sometimes at the Nova Scotia Open and all of the tournaments that are held, whether it's the one at St. George's or wherever it might be, the energy of the crowd really does help a player. Me being a former hockey mom, had a little bit of hockey mom yelling at the right time.
Wide forehand there from Anand. And Nicolela looking, I think, more solid by the game here, has her feet underneath her.
This is her response time as well. Is she here to fight today and play? So she is very much in this second set. So
Yeah, good serve.
amazing serve.
So when Meghna was a little girl, 10, 12 years old, one of her heroes was Anna Nicolela, who's 7 years older and was the star junior years ahead of her. So kind of neat how the generations meet years later.
Well, this is a sport where the generations keep kind of helping each other. I know The McDonough brothers, Justin and Travis, have been very helpful for Luke. Same for Jack Graham, who has been he used to be a pro here at the WAG, but he has been just inducted in the Canadian Tennis Hall of Fame as a builder. What he has done for tennis right across Canada, but especially here in Nova Scotia, to continue to grow and build this game has been amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's responsible for that.
Tireless and passionate, right?
Very much so. Maybe a few connections too. Which, hell, you know what I mean. But anyhow, you talk about the relationship of Meghna looking at Anna as a role model, and it plays out in this sport where you keep seeing the same people. You develop friendships. You develop this helping each other prepare for tournaments. I mean, I think that's big too. Not looking at them as your competition, but my strength. Nova Scotia's got a good legacy of that and a great tennis community.
There's a nice angle backhand there by Meghna Anand, forcing Nicolela way off the court. Break point for Anand now. Looking to go up a break here in set 2. That was a nice shot. Caught the back. I think the back of the baseline landed in. And there's the break of serve. 4-2 now for Meghna Anand's second set. Men's final coming up, Colleen, and one of the finalists is Danilo Veremachek. I'm going to call it Chuk. Veremachuk. He's from the Ukraine.
Beautiful story.
Great story, and he's been welcomed here in Nova Scotia. Wonderful player. He's been working a lot with Meghna Anand, and she says what he's done is he hasn't tried to change anything, just make everything a little bit better and refine those skills. Repetition over and over. Make sure you know what you're doing, especially that forehand smash and backhand slice. So Veremachuk, who you will see in the men's final later on Eastlink, working a lot with Meghna Anand, and you can see that she's playing some pretty good tennis here.
That men's final, by the way, is going to be amazing because Evan Nichols, he beat Luke in the semifinal, and he is on fire.
Yeah, Evan McNichol has not lost a tennis match this summer. That's not a typo.
All?
Yeah, he has not lost a match in the summer. And he'll play this wonderful player from Ukraine, Veremachuk, and that's in the men's final later today.
And well, I call him Danny from Ukraine.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah, he's coaching her. Meghna also, is coached by her dad, and back in Truro. And she started playing as that 4-year-old, being at the court with her dad, and her dad playing a few points after. She's natural.
Unforced errors always tell a big story in tennis. There have been 13 now for Anna Nicolela and only 7 for Anand. 10 winners for Anand and only 1 for Nicolela. So you can see why she has the lead. Trying to build on it here.
Well, this is such a big game right here.
40 left.
Serve right down the middle. I think that caught the line. Nicolela checking to make sure. 40 love now. Very timely ace.
Like the moonball strategy. Whoops. Spoke too soon.
Over the top of that forehand. 5-2 now for Anand's second set. And with one more service break, she will become a 2-time champion and back-to-back champion of this event.
Well, this is where Anna just needs to play with a little bit of reckless abandon. Just no pressure now. You got to pull the ripcord on everything, sort of just go for everything right now, because you need to win, and if you need to win this game.
All right, let's head downstairs. A woman that knows an awful lot about each of these players and about tennis in Nova Scotia, standing by with Troy.
Yes, thank you very much, Bruce Meghna Anand, the technical director of Tennis Nova Scotia. A lot of people, that's just a few words, but what does that role exactly entail?
To summarize, probably making sure that the quality of tennis that's delivered around the province by coaches is as high as possible. So coaching coaches and delivering certification courses, visiting all our clubs, and supporting them in terms of the technical quality of tennis.
And I think it's fair to say you know these two women behind us very well, having played with, against them. What have you thought of the match so far?
I do. We have a situation where, of course, Meghna is quite dominant. She's playing this sort of new game of the women's tour, kind of a slightly flatter ball with less spin. Anna from slightly before that, so a slightly different era in tennis, more spinny. And so Meghna's game style is winning at the moment. But yes, they've been around for a while, both of them.
Still some time left. Enjoy the rest of the match.
Thank you.
Meghna Anand, a multi-time winner in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles. And she actually won the mixed doubles title here this morning with her partner, Phil Anderson.
She's amazing. And as a technical director, her job is so critical for what's going on in this province right now.
I'll tell you something else, Colleen. She has battled back from a couple of really tough bouts with cancer.
I
And
mean,
has
in
done so
every
with
way,
incredible
she's
power,
a
you know?
warrior. She's just the most positive person on the planet. She's responsible for not just what you're seeing for the growth of what we're seeing at the national level from all of the players. She brought wheelchair tennis to Nova Scotia. We're one of only 2 provinces. And she and Paul Tingley won the event, Paralympian superstar. She has done so much for the game. And the national wheelchair championships will be held at the Sobeys. I don't know the exact date. 40 of the best players in Canada coming. It is awesome to watch if you can get out to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this and just want to try tennis, oh my goodness, phone your local club. I mean, it's very accessible and inviting. That Sobeys Center is a public facility. You do not have to be a member. You just need to sign up for whatever. I'm thinking of cardio tennis for us. Okay, back to the match.
You know what? Anand 2 points away here, 15-30. Big service point here for Nicolela.
Ooh.
15-40.
And now a couple of match points for Meghna Anand. Last year, she was the youngest to ever win it on the female side at 15 years plus this year. Ripe old age of 16.
Boy, how many times is she going to win this in the course of her lifetime?
Wow. Oh, slice drop shot there on match point by Nicolela. Gutsy.
I think that was the first applause we've heard from the crowd too.
They like that shot.
Yeah.
Nicolela
She
trying
lives
to
to
save
play
it.
another point.
Yeah, another match point here. Trying to save it.
Oh, and that first serve doesn't bounce in the right way, eh?
Yeah, I think she needed to make more first serves today in retrospect to try to keep Anand back and away from that forehand. And she lives to play another point.
I think that was an example of a rally where she played one more ball and rather, and the off-pace stuff she's throwing a little bit.
In survival mode here a bit, and as you said, went to the idea of getting the ball in.
You want to throw the kitchen sink at her right now.
sails just long. Another match point here for Anand. Good rally.
Holding on by the fingernails now.
Third chance for Anand here at the Nova Scotia Open title. And that floats long, and we have a back-to-back champion, 16-year-old Meghna Anand of Truro, women's champion at the Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink. Final score 6-love, 6-2. A dominating performance by Meghna Anand, who continues to build on what has been a superb summer.
She didn't have many mistakes for sure, but it wasn't, having watched Anna, especially in that semifinal match where she was moving really well and really playing with ease and confidence, she didn't have that same kind of confidence. I know there's a lot more pressure in the final game, and you want to win. You want your name on that trophy, but a lot of unforced errors from Anna today.
Indeed, and a dominant performance by Meghna Anand. She's a back-to-back champ. She's going to get her trophy, and we'll hear from both players in just a moment.
Yep, Greg's telling me Eastlink account manager. You got me, Matt?
If you
The Gallagher Nova Scotia Open presented by Eastlink, the women's final now in the books, a championship, a back-to-back championship for Meghna Anand of Truro. And we want to show you the Eastlink shot of the match. And Colleen, all day long, the story was the Meghna Anand forehand. She was able to rifle this thing. And on there, proved she was good with the backhand too.
She moves really well. She's really fit. She's playing a lot of tennis, and we did see some signs of nerves from her today. That if Anna had been on her game, it would have been interesting to see what might have happened if she had been tested just a little bit more.
Nicolela, I'm sure, will look back and say I made way too many unforced errors, especially on what is normally my strength, the forehand side. A couple of aces for Anand, and yeah, the numbers are all from Meghna in this, obviously.
I thought Anna found her serve in that second set and served much better, but she, it was hard to neutralize the weapons from Meghna, and and that's something you kind of. Luckily, this is all. This will be replayed on Eastlink. She'll be able to watch, and that's hugely important to kind of critique your performance. No matter what sport you're in, you got to have the guts to look at it and go, "Oh, I see. Maybe I stayed too far back on second serve. Maybe my feet weren't moving fast enough. Maybe I took the ball late too many times."
She'll be able to look at that in post. For now, though, we're going to keep it in the present, head down to courtside. Here's the trophy presentation with Troy.
Yes, thank you very much, Bruce. Hello, welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a beautiful day for some fantastic tennis action. I want to congratulate Meghna and Anna for both being here on a great final. I first up want to introduce and say a few words, Brad Lawler, the CEO of Tennis Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out today. It means a lot to have this many people here, and I know this is not an easy stage for these athletes to play on, so thank you very much. Second, I would like to congratulate both Anna and Meghna for a great match, and special congratulations to Meghna, who is our Women's Open champion. Meghna, I'd like to call you up. You'll be presented the trophy by Greg Brown with Eastlink. Meghna also wins $1,500 as the champion. And Anna, we didn't forget about you. Anna Nicolela wins $500 for second place. Congratulations, Anna.
Anna, before you get too far there, I'd like to call you to the mic, and a round of applause for our finalists, everyone. Anna Nicolela. Okay, so I first off want to ask you, that second set there, able to string together a couple game wins. What was going through your mind in order to try and build on some of that momentum?
I think I was more trying to get out of my mind. I think that was a big problem in the first set, so just trying to get out of my own head and try to feel the ball a little bit more and give her a bit more of a match, I think. Yeah.
Speaking of your competitor, Meghna, I want to ask you, how difficult is it to play against someone who's able to excel in a lot of areas of the game?
Yeah, she's a really, really tough opponent. She played awesome today. She just hits a really big ball that I think I was struggling to get my rhythm, my timing on it. So, yeah, that was kind of she's just very all-around. She can serve well. She's got a great forehand, so she's definitely a tough opponent.
And on the docket, up next for tennis, anything in mind, school, other tournaments you're hoping to compete in? What's next on the docket?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to play more tennis. This is kind of fueling me. I don't want to come out here and, not be able to put up a good fight. So I'm going to keep playing. Playing for Dalhousie this year. I'm starting a graduate program there, so I'll be playing for Dal back in Halifax. So excited.
Best of of luck for that, and thank you for your time. I'd like to invite our champion over, Meghna Anand, everyone. Okay, fantastic summer for you. U16, U18 Atlantic champion, and now you've won this. How proud of your tennis performances this summer have you been?
I feel really proud. Like at Nationals, I also did a really good job. Like it was pretty good this summer. One of my best summers, yeah.
Quarterfinalist at Nationals, that is. I'll share that with everyone for those that don't know. You're still very young, not even graduated high school yet, and already a two-time champion, and I'm sure lots more to come. How does it feel to be a two-time winner of the provincial event?
It feels really nice, you know, winning Nova Scotia Open. Like, it's a really great tournament. Everyone here is amazing, and yeah.
A lot of things were clicking for you here today. What part of your game are you most proud of over the course of the week and here today?
My serve and forehand once again, but yeah, my serve was really nice today. I was putting it in like really good. And my forehand, it was really nice too. I was like keeping it deep and stuff, so yeah.
Certainly a lot of things to be proud of. Once again, everyone, your women's singles champion, Meghna Anand, everyone. And to wrap up our coverage of the women's singles event, we'll send it back up to the booth with Bruce and Colleen.
All right, Troy, thank you so much. And a couple of well-spoken young women there talking about a match that went the way of Meghna Anand, $1,500. So on the way home, she's treating mom and dad on the supper to Truro, right? For
She
sure.
is treating mom and dad. I mean, she's certainly a future superstar in our sport for Nova Scotia. And as she mentioned, such a great national championship. She had her game today, but we did see some winning a lot of her points on errors. And in the second set, if Anna had found her game, and she spoke about that, just trying to get out of her mind. In other words, what was her self-talk like today? Where was her confidence? How do you It's a lesson for all young players to practice it every day in practice. Don't just expect it to show up on the court. And she wants to play more, which is great, because she's been a terrific role model for a lot of players.
Yeah, and credit to Meghna, too, because when the wheels were a little wobbly in the second set, you weren't sure which way it was going to go, but she hunkered down, had a couple of big service games, and cruised to the 6-2 win in the second set.
That serve is a lesson to everybody as well, because I remember when I was taking lessons, and your last 10 minutes of every lesson was spent on serve. You know, more time on that first serve in practice, like really have just service practice drills all the time, because you see what a weapon it is, and when you can catch your opponent and take them to the where you want them on the court because of that serve, and kind of, you know, Anna at times was too far back, you know, wasn't able to handle that serve. So I don't know. It was an interesting match, and kudos to Meghna, because she played well.
Yeah, she's a great young woman, too. And the serve's an amazing thing. You know, you win free points off it. That's a good thing in tennis. Listen, all those years...
Looking at her now, she barely broke out in a sweat, eh? She's got the trophy with her family now.
All those years as a tennis mom, who knew it would lead to a booth at Eastlink for the Women's Open? Good to see you.
It was awesome.
On behalf of Colleen Jones and Troy Langstrath, the entire Eastlink crew, you're going to stick around, because we're going to take a break and come back with the men's final as we continue coverage of the 2023 Gallagher Nova Scotia Open, presented by Eastlink.